So in this video, we're looking at intros and intros 2.0. So the last key component of intros is their flow. So students will be able to find and create flow in their intros. So the word flow is a word that we use to talk about water when it's running, like water in the river. We say the river is flowing, as opposed to the opposite, which is a lake, where the water stands still. And even in some rivers, you have it where it'll flow and then it gets stopped, right? And so we don't want this to happen in our intros. And we want our intros in every sentence to flow. So every sentence is connected to the other sentence and it goes in a nice straight line. So here's one example of the intro with flow. All countries in the world are unique. Obviously, countries are different from one another in location, size, culture, government, climate, and lifestyle. However, many countries share some surprising similarities. Some may think that these two nations have nothing in common because Brazil and the United States are in different hemispheres. On the contrary, they share many similarities. So first of all, the flow happens where you have a sentence, and this does a good job of starting very general, talk about all countries are unique or special, and then it takes something from that first sentence and continues with it. So like, how are those countries unique and special? Well, it talks about their unique in location, size, culture, government, climate, and lifestyle. And then it does another thing that I ask you guys to do in your background is it does the opposite. So it's talking about all these differences. Now it's saying, look, there's some similarities. And then it goes into those similarities, and it also even adds people's opinions. Some may think that these two nations have nothing in common because Brazil and the United States are in different hemispheres. On the contrary, they share many similarities. So this is also an example of a two-sentence thesis where it starts the thesis here, giving you the topic, Brazil and the United States, and it finishes it in the second sentence talking about this essay is going to talk about the similarities between the two. Let's look at another example. Here's a student example talking about the topic of most important things to think about when buying a car. Cars these days are one of the best kind of transportation. Cars came out in the middle of the 1900s. Many people couldn't afford to buy cars. They were kind of expensive for some people. Cars were only bought by rich families. In the middle of the 1960s, cars became more affordable. That's when people started to buy cars and the car company became more known and more people knew there's a car. In each car, there are many similarities. Many cars share the same kind of radio and engine. Although there are many similarities, it is important to know the key differences between cars before buying a car. When buying a car, people should know mileage, history of the car, and the general information before buying a car. So again, this is a real student example, and it does have many grammar errors. However, it does do a pretty good job of flowing and a couple other things. So it starts off general, saying that cars are the best kind of transportation. It might be a little bit better to talk about how cars are the most popular form of transportation today. Cars came out, and then it goes into like the history of cars when they came out, and then it again flows from within the history. Talks about how the history of affordability of cars, or how easy it is for people to buy them or not buy them, as it was explained here, how some people could not buy cars easily and how that's changed. And then it goes into similarities, being more specific about the cars. In each car, there are many similarities, and it gives a couple quick examples. And then it does the opposite, where it was talking about similarities, and then it goes to the opposite of similarities, which are differences. Although there are many similarities, it is important to know the key differences between cars before buying a car. When buying a car, and then it goes into its thesis, which is why the most important things people should think about or ask about before buying a car, which is the mileage, history of the car, and general information. So again, a really good job of flowing, and also a good job of using different background information types, history, opposite as well. So this last one was on the topic of should universities have online classes, full online classes, or should they not do online classes? And we're going to start with the original version of this intro that the student wrote. And he wrote, online classes are more comfortable learning environment. You get to choose where to study from. I think that Gus should offer their online classes and it goes in. So first of all, this is, an intro is supposed to go from general to specific, where this is starting almost exactly with the thesis. So it's just answering the question, and it's very short. So let's look at a revised version. So here the student does a much better job. Due to the world's current situation, online classes are becoming one of the most used ways for students to finish their courses. So again, good job starting more general, a hook, talking about a fact of what's happening in the world. Online classes are virtual classes communicating through devices such as laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Another great type of background information, giving the definition. What are online classes? Most people think online classes are a waste of time or will not work, and other people think online classes are actually more beneficial than regular classes. Here again, giving people's opinion in the background information. In GUST, online classes are being used. GUST should provide fully online classes. Online classes are comfortable, thus time-consuming and flexible. So again, this is a much better example, much better revision than the first version. Starting very general, giving a definition, giving people's opinions, and then giving more specific about GUST and online classes. At GUST are being used, and then the thesis about it. GUST should provide these online classes and the reasons why. So this is another good example of an intro that has flow, and also with this one has a definition, people's opinion. So great job.